Look. If your relatives laugh and say you are nothing but a charity office worker who stamps papers, sometimes the smartest move is to nod and smile. That is what I did. Then the famous surgeon who came to give a speech at my cousin's wedding saw the corner of my internal ethics badge. His face went grey like someone had pulled half the blood out of his body. He pointed at me. His voice shook. He said my name like a verdict. He asked if I was the one who wrote the majority opinion. The table was still laughing. Only I knew what that opinion meant. On one line it said approve. On another line it said deny. Approve saved a child at that table. Deny kept another child out of the same door. And the name behind the denial was carved into that surgeon's family tree. My name is C.I. Lu. My family describes my job in one lazy sentence. They say I work in charity. They say I sit in an office. They say it is stable. If they want to sound more specific, they say I do admin for a Red Cross partnership project. I do not correct them. If I correct them once, I will have to explain 100 times. If I explain 100 times, I might leak something once. In reality, I work in a place people rarely talk about in public. The name is a mouthful. Scarce Medical Intervention Ethics Panel. When trial slots are not enough, when last chance plans are not enough, when the final window for surgery is not enough, someone decides who goes in and who must wait. It is not decided by who looks more pitiful. It is decided by metrics, risk, reversibility, and a set of ethical rules that read like law. We have iron rules. Anonymous to the outside. No favoritism on the inside. There is a colder rule too. You do not owe unrelated family members a detailed explanation of the outcome. It is not because we do not want to explain. It is because explanation can trigger mobs, threats, hospital chaos, and the slow death of a fair system. This is where it happened. My younger cousin's wedding. The hotel lobby was red in a way that hurt your eyes. The speakers played Joy Turned Up Too High. My aunt held my hand and introduced me to relatives. She said C.I. Lu is obedient. She said C.I. Lu never fights for attention. Then she landed the knife in a soft voice. She said C.I. Lu is too soft-hearted for big things. My uncle made a sound in his throat. For 2 years he had been polite with spikes hidden inside. I knew why. His son Xiaolei had a rare disease. Xiaolei applied for a high-risk, high-cost trial that might have been the only real chance. The ethics panel reviewed the case. Xiaolei did not get in. A younger child got in. The younger child fit the trial design better. The prognosis was more measurable on paper. My uncle could not accept it. He believed the world ran on connections, money, and volume. He believed people like me were either useless or heartless. After a few rounds of drinks, my uncle raised his glass like he was joking. He said, "Let us toast our family's great philanthropist, the kind who signs paperwork." The table laughed. I laughed too. Perfect smile. Pain tucked behind my teeth. The wedding had a segment where the couple invited a guest speaker, a thank you figure. It was a well-known cardiac surgeon. Director Han. He spoke with Polish. The crowd clapped. He said medicine is not God, but people still need a road in despair. I clapped from the table. My palms were cold. Not because I hated the performance. Because I had seen what dignity hides. The people who never get invited on stage. Director Han came down to toast. He moved between tables like rounds in a hospital. Then his eyes scanned our table. They landed on my bag. The zipper was not fully closed. A card edge showed. An ethics panel identifier. To outsiders it looks like a normal work badge. Insiders recognize the faint laser line. Director Han stopped. Half a second. Half a second is enough for your stomach to drop. He walked to me. His voice still had party smoothness. He asked if I was C.I. Lu. I nodded. I congratulated him. He stared at me like I was a CT scan that should not exist. His throat moved. Then he asked a question that should never be asked at a wedding. He said, 2 years ago, case file 7, the majority opinion, were you the final writer? The table was still laughing. Someone thought he was praising me. They said, oh, C.I. Lu knows Director Han. Only I knew what case file 7 meant. Our internal number. 2 families. 2 children. 1 last seat in the same trial. Director Han's fingers went white on the glass rim. He was not attacking me. He was confirming a fact that split his private life in half. I had to be clear without leaking patient-level detail. That is muscle memory in my job. I looked at Director Han. My voice was light. Each word landed like a nail. I said, procedure does not allow me to discuss individual cases here. He acted like he did not hear. His eyes reddened. He said, answer me. Was it you? My uncle was still enjoying the drama. He said, what is going on? Can C.I. Lu boss Director Han around? Director Han turned to my uncle. That look was not doctor to family anymore. It was a father seeing a truth arrive too late. His voice trembled but stayed clean. He said, "Do you know which child got the last slot?" He said, "Do you know the person who wrote the denial chain might be sitting at your table right now?" The air left the room. The wedding music kept playing. It sounded like it came from another planet. My uncle's face went from red to white. He said, "You are insane." Director Han laughed. It looked worse than crying. He said, "Insane." He lifted a finger toward me. It shook like a leaf. He said, "Ci Lu. I only need one answer. When you wrote that opinion, did you know another child died after?" The hall went quiet. Here is the part that feels like a cruel joke from fate. Director Han inhaled like he was coughing up a clot stuck for years. He said, "My son did not get in either. He could not wait. He died." Someone at the table gasped. My uncle's glass tilted. Wine spilled like small red evidence. Director Han looked at me. His eyes were mud mixed from gratitude and hate. He said, "The child your opinion approved was not some stranger's child." He said, "It was my sister's child." He said, "It was my nephew." When that sentence landed, the light seemed to tilt. The same Director Han was a father who lost a son. He was also an uncle who gained a saved child. He did not hate medicine. He hated how ethics could split one family in half. Half offered to heaven. Half used to buy more time. My uncle shot to his feet. His eyes were bloodshot. He finally had a target for years of poison. He said, "You knew. You knew Xiaolei had no chance. You always." I stood. I did not step back. I did not step forward. I did what I had to do. I used professional ethics as a shield and as a cage. I said, "Uncle, I cannot discuss case details here. I can only tell you the decision was not based on kinship. It was not based on who makes more noise. It was not based on who toasts better." I looked at Director Han. My voice dropped. I said, "Director Han, you know this too. Without that line, nobody might be standing here giving thanks. You would only get uglier bribes and bloodier grabbing." Director Han closed his eyes like the sentence pushed him underwater. I do not remember exactly how the wedding ended. I remember my cousin's pale face. I remember the bride frozen in place. I remember someone whispering, "How will this family go on?" I left early. Outside, the night wind hit like an open palm. Later Director Han sent a long message. He edited it down until only one line remained. He said, "I hated you. I also know without your kind of cold blood, I would hate the world even harder." My uncle never apologized. He went silent in the family group chat for a long time. One day he forwarded an article about fair allocation of medical resources. He did not name anyone. He did not tag me. For a certain kind of older male relative in a Chinese family, that is a clumsy way to admit defeat. If you ask whether I felt right that night, I will say this. It felt right enough to make you sick. The strangest part of ethics is that sometimes it asks you to act like a machine in front of family. It also asks you never to show the gears to the public as entertainment.